All right. I think that we're going to go to Steve over there in Nebraska. What's up there, Steve? How you doing?
Yeah. Hey, John and Armin, thanks for taking my call. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that biblical slaves weren't just indentured servants, but they were just prisoners of war put to work to keep God's temple intact until Jesus Christ's ultimate sacrifice was made for the redemption of human sin.
No, so where in the New Testament does hold on, Steve, where in the New Testament does Jesus make the mandate that that slavery is no longer okay?
Well, it's based off the fact that when the Hebrews ended slavery, and guess when they ended slavery? They ended it when the temple fell in 70
when
AD.
did they end it? Well, I've never heard that.
Like
slavery. If they ended,
yeah,
no,
well,
Steve,
that's
hold on.
what I'm here to let you guys know.
No. So yeah, first of all, this is the same problem that we ran into with Larry at the very beginning of this hour of this show. You're not going to come on here and just talk at us, okay, Steve? Like that's what it sounds like. Like you saying, "I just want to come on here and let you know." That indicates to me that you're not looking for a conversation. You're not looking for actual feedback on your bullshit here. You're just looking to talk at us. Are you here to preach at us, there, Steve, or are you here to have a fucking conversation?
Oh, I'd like to have a conversation. You guys say your piece. Go ahead. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. I don't know at all where in history the Hebrews have outlawed slavery. That doesn't occur in the Old Testament. That doesn't occur in the New Testament. And in fact, slavery didn't get outlawed until 1,000 or more years later. At least, especially if you're talking about in the United States where we're based, that wasn't outlawed technically until 1865. And even then, you had various pockets where slavery was still being implemented. That's why we have the Juneteenth celebration, because it was much later after the slaves were freed that all slavery was abolished in America. So I mean I'm just saying that like at no point in history have the Hebrews like done away with slavery, and I would love for you to back that up with some evidence.
Well, because Wikipedia, when did the Hebrews outlaw slavery? That was done in 70 AD.
No, there was no outlaw of slavery in 70 AD. Where are you getting that from? You're the one making the claim. Support your claim with evidence.
Okay, hold on here. If you give me a few minutes, because I'm going to have that prepared, so maybe I'll have to call back on this.
Are you serious right now? Like, if you're going to call, like, do you is this how your conversations normally go? Like, do you normally enter in a conversation and you just expect people to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to eat your bullshit up, like without questioning it? Like, is that what you're?
Okay.
Is that your normal experience?
When was Hebrew slavery? Hold on, let's put that in here. When was Hebrew slavery ended? We could just do a quick search on that.
You're talking about the destruction. 70 AD, was that? 70 AD, isn't that the destruction of the second temple? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because did they stop slavery by having their? Okay, so they were too busy being wiped out and their temple destroyed to be getting around each other and destroy. And I just looked it up. No, their slavery, Hebrews were practicing slavery way after that. But at 70 AD,
the Rabbinic era. It says right here the ribbon. Okay. You guys say your piece, and then please give me a chance after. Go ahead.
Okay, so slavery was still so I'm checking this up right now. Slavery was still practiced in Jewish communities. Jewish law continued to regulate slavery for centuries. The Talmud, which was compiled later, still includes discussion on slave laws. I mean, you're talking about rabbinic. The Talmud the rabbis were responsible for the Talmud, right? Roman rule, not Jewish law. After 70 AD, Jews were under Roman control, and Rome allowed slavery. The Jewish community had no power to outlaw it anyways. Slavery existed in Jewish law. Rabbinic Judaism continued to permit indentured servitude for Jews and permanent slavery for non-Jews. based on biblical laws. A gradual decline, and there was not an outright ban. Jewish slavery declined over time due to social and economic changes, not because of a specific ban in 70 AD. It wasn't formally abolished until much later, influenced by broader global movements. So there you go.
Okay, so my information is that Hebrew slavery was prohibited during the Rabbinic, it's spelled Rabinic era, for as long as the temple in Jerusalem is defunct, since 70 CE. That's what Art of AI, my AI chatbot's telling me.
Okay, so we're having a conversation with ChatGPT. Then we're not having a conversation with you. Do you get all your information from ChatGPT?
Well, a good portion of it, not all. I get, I look at science.
What was the prompt?
Articles,
what was the specific prompt? Because you could. What was the specific prompt that you gave it?
Okay. When was Hebrew slavery outlawed?
Let me see.
And I'm using Google AI overview.
Oh my God.
So I'm getting a different answer from you.
Well, my AI overview says Hebrew slavery, which involved Israelites serving
I'm not getting
Israelite
the same answer
period
as
of
you.
6 years, was largely obsolete after the destruction of the first Israelite Commonwealth around 6 BCE and was not prohibited.
So no, maybe I
misread it. Hold on, I could be wrong, guys. And
okay, that's good.
Prohibited. Yes. Did I miss a word? I might have missed a word in reading that. Okay, my bad.
Okay, well that's great.
Okay.
No, Steve, that's amazing. No, this is amazing. I want to admire the fact that you realize that you're openly admitting that you made a mistake. That's very nice. I appreciate that. But go on, John. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, I work off of the data, and the data is what is contained in the Bible, right? And in the Bible, there is no prohibition on slavery either mentioned by Jesus or in the Hebrew Bible. So, as far as you're concerned, like, what do you think God's stance is on biblical slaves?
Well, I think that the biblical slaves were prisoners of war that put to work to keep the temple intact.
And that makes them okay. Does it? So for you, if America was to go into the Middle East, attack countries in the Middle East, and capture prisoners of war over there, and then force them into slave labor, would that be a good thing to do?
Well, they didn't have Geneva Convention. They didn't have war camps for prisoners back then, and the temple was.
That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking you.
Tribes. This isn't me. This is about God's temple. It's not about me. And by the way, they had a chance.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm asking you. Hold on, Steve. I'm asking you not about what the modern prohibitions on certain actions in wartime. I'm asking you about your holy book. I'm assuming that you're a Christian. Your holy book, what it says about taking slaves. So in your mind here, it seems to me like what's being communicated is that it's okay to force people into slavery as long as they're prisoners of war. Is that correct?
Well, the prisoners of war that back in that time, they didn't have, they couldn't build them like they can now.
Is God limited?
Right?
Hold on, Steve. Is God limited by the time and place that he is existing in that we exist in at a certain moment in time? Like, is God limited in that way, or is God all powerful?
There is no omni-God. That's just a logical contradiction. I mean, I could just say there's no omni or benevolent God. I could just, in just 2 words, childhood cancer. I mean, I can debunk that. I mean, you guys think that there's just all benevolent, all good, all knowing, powerful.
I don't think that.
God.
We don't think that. Christians think that.
Excuse me, not you guys. No. I'm sorry. There's some fellow Christians that I know think that.
So Steve doesn't believe in the triumphant God, apparently, which is actually a more biblically accurate version of God, to be honest, because the triumphant God comes from
Bible,
Plato. Doesn't come from the Bible. Go on.
Okay, I skimmed the Bible a while ago, so maybe I'm not right on this, but it's been a while since I read the Bible. But I think there's something about where it says in the book of maybe Exodus that God is the creator of all calamity, right?
Right.
Say that somewhere
So
in there.
I'm sorry. We're just trying to figure out what your view of God is here. And like you're wanting to say that biblical slaves weren't really slaves, that they were rather indentured servants or they were prisoners of war. And I'm trying to get a sense of whether or not you think it's okay to force prisoners of war into slave labor. Like
he doesn't believe that all is.
No.
I don't think he believes all. Steve, is it? Am I understanding you correctly? You don't believe that God is all loving, all powerful, and all knowing. Is that my understanding of your view?
He's not. He can't be an all omni. That's logic.
Okay, well, that's interesting because so you cannot get Steve by saying like your God did it wrong because his God is not all powerful. So. That's very interesting. This is the first time I'm talking to a theist.
He's not. He's not. You know, I don't want to say he's very powerful, or they. I mean, the Elohim are very powerful, but they're not. You know, they can't do. Everything all at one time necessarily. I don't know that. You know,
this is very interesting because Steve. John, this is very interesting because Steve's God is actually more. Aligned with actually the Bible, because if you actually read the Bible, God is not all powerful, right? He's limited. It's like Plato's the Greek influence on the Catholic Church later on made these ideas that God is like fully all powerful, all loving, the triumny. Like so Steve is actually, I think Steve is reading the Bible and he's coming up with a more accurate biblical God compared to most Christians that are reading the Bible. Okay, but Steve, that's very interesting. But however, why do you believe in this God? That's very interesting. I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to. Nobody could get you with the problem of evil because the problem of evil only applies to a all powerful and all loving God, right? So you're not contradicting yourself by believing in a God that is not all powerful. But how come you believe in such a thing?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to give you a definition of what I believe to be God. I believe God is technologically advanced, extraterrestrial intelligence, and we have evidence of this. A recently published paper titled "A Spider-Stellar Engine, a fully steerable extraterrestrial design," authored by Dr. Clement Vidal, claims that binary star system PSRJ 1641-8 8049, which consists of a millisecond pulsar, a lower mass companion star, is deaccelerating due to artificially generated force, perhaps by magnetically charged Dyson ring or magnetic cell around the orbital plane of the pulsar.
Steve, why? I'm really confused at this point. We started out talking about the biblical slavery thing, and now you're shifting to extraterrestrial bullshit. What? What was your point in calling in? If you don't believe in the biblical version of God, you don't believe in the Bible. What was the point in calling in? Like, are you wanting to disagree with what the Hebrew says, like in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, or like? I guess I just don't understand the point of your call if you believe in fucking Xenu.
Well, I do believe I am a theist. I believe in God, just not traditional, not just in a traditional sense, other way other people believe. And I do believe that there is.
You believe gods came from other planets? You gods are aliens?
Well, I believe technologically advanced civilizations have influenced, have interacted with the ancient people. I do believe in the ancient aliens. I believe in some aspects of a religion called realism. You ever heard of that? Realism?
Wait, did you just say ancient aliens? Jesus Christ! We're fucking getting the weird ones out of the woodwork today, huh? I mean, I'm sorry, Steve. I don't mean to call you weird, but I mean that's a weird belief, right? Like, how does this relate to biblical slavery? Like, what? I'm still confused.
I mean, Steve is trying, to be honest. Like, I admire that he's trying. I mean, it's kind of out there, but like, I think he's ready. Like he's being skeptical. Like let's give him a chance, okay? Steve, like can you give us an evidence that God is like this? These things that you just mentioned, they are like, and also don't give us. We haven't looked up all this. Like you just gave us a whole bunch of words that we don't understand because we haven't read the material that you have read. For some people who might not be as familiar with the things that you're referring to as evidence, can you dumb it down for us and tell us what evidence that you have for such a thing existing and
Sure.
this technological?
Okay.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Okay, so a pulsar companion star have been observed slowing down in open space, which just doesn't happen without a force counteracting this. Because in space, an object in motion will remain in motion unless there's a force acting upon it. Well, there is no natural force of slowing this down. It has to be artificially generated force.
I think that's a leap in logic there.
You can research this. You can research this in a paper called "The Spider Stellar Engine: A Fully Steerable Extraterrestrial Design." And then we have more, not just this, but we have other technological signatures of advanced extraterrestrial intelligence. And there is this fast radio burst signal, FRB 2024-0209A, that apparently artificially generated real beings are being used to generate this signal to propel ancient alien starships, light cells, rather than these FRB-like signals coming from a magnetar or any other natural object like collapsing.
Okay, sorry, Steve, I'm gonna have to stop you. There's a number of logical leaps in here because like you're making statements about things and then you're jumping to the alien explanation, claiming that the alien explanation is the only explanation that's available. We simply just could not know what any of those things are. I haven't read the paper that you're talking about, some kind of spider constellation engine or something or another. I don't know, maybe it was Xenu's like car. But I mean, I'm still confused, like as to why you're even defending biblical slavery in this. It's perplexing me. I don't know. Maybe Armin has a better grasp on this than I do.
No, I'm trying to look at the paper that he's talking about to figure out what the hell this is, because to me it sounds like it's just a whole bunch of words that I need to be more familiar with what he's talking about to be able to evaluate it. So, I mean, because you're just dumping a whole bunch of words on us, and we have to actually have looked into this for us to understand what you mean. I asked you to simplify what you've studied in a way that somebody who hasn't studied what you have studied could understand, and you didn't do that.
Okay, so there's this pulsar, and its stellar wind is being redirected in order to reduce the irradiation of the pulsar's companion star, thereby resulting in the reduction of this system's propellant thrust, thereby slowing down the travel velocity of the star system. Then it's on approach towards a close encounter with another star, purposed for replenishing the energy resources of this binary star system, PSRJ-1641-8049.
You're not helping.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this. It seems like it's just relying on unknown forces that is just filling out. Like the whole thing seems to be an appeal to ignorance. So, I mean, to me, it seems like something is moving in a direction or in a way that cannot be explained based on the known forces that are being seen, and it's filling the gap with that ignorance with aliens. Very technologically advanced aliens that are moving stars or something, which they're more easily,
right,
the best explanation
right.
Yeah, so the easier explanation is like we didn't detect all the forces influencing this. Like you understand that people who are observing space cannot detect there are so many things that are influencing each other that are not all of it is being detected or explained at once. We have this whole thing called dark matter because to fill in a whole bunch of movements that we could not explain. So there's a lot of things that we don't understand. Just it seems like answering this unknown with a more complicated answer doesn't solve this problem. It actually makes a problem more complex. So you're seeing some movements that you cannot explain, and instead of addressing this with we don't know or a more simplified explanation, you answer it with an even more complicated question. Stars are being moved around because of advanced aliens, instead of just saying we don't know why this is moving in this direction. That seems like a huge leap.
Isn't it awfully peculiar that this is slowing down towards another star, with a close encounter with another star? Isn't that?
Well, yeah, but what we're saying, Steve, what we're saying is that there's a leap in your conclusion there. Like you're not supporting the alien hypothesis with any kind of evidence. It's just stating that it's aliens with no consideration of any other possible explanations. And the I don't know explanation, like we just simply don't know what's causing this, is more honest and more representative of our current knowledge set. Jumping to aliens is uncalled for in this situation. That's what we're trying to explain to you.
This is all completely theoretical. Do you understand? Like the paper that you're talking is completely theoretical, right? It has any there's no practical method to there's no methodology here. It's just basically, couch philosophy. Like, oh, what if, like, oh, we don't know how this is moving. What if aliens? That's basically the entirety of this paper. There's no evidence offered.
Well, it provides the only explanation for an observed phenomenon that's occurring.
It hasn't exhausted every other possibility.
Well, this is a pulsar moving in open space. There's no other way it can slow down unless there's an artificially
no other force that has been detected yet. You understand? You're talking about so many things so far away. There are so many ways that this is naturally could be happening without aliens that you just have that hasn't been detected. Not all forces in space is detected.
Well, we do have to observe this more. I think it's warranted. There is a possibility, I should have brought this up, but there could be a measurement error involved in this, too. I mean,
it's obviously a possibility. Everything is a possibility, but it shouldn't be taken seriously. That's the point. Because it provides, it's just an ignorance that is filled with just a fantastical, like, imaginary solution without any evidence. I mean, I could as easily just say, like, what if, like, Newtonian and modern physics is all wrong, and that's why? How about that? I just threw that out there. What if like the laws of physics are wrong, for example, and that's why it's moving in that direction?
Well, dark energy is just an illusion of gravitational time dilation. So dark energy is probably not even
a different topic.
It's just a period.
Okay, Steve, we're really moving off of the topic that you originally called in for, and so I mean we've interacted on the whole alien god thing for a bit, but I think that we need to move on to other callers. Okay.